Polls are growing louder for Biden to choose somebody to be his vice president. A lot of folks are talking about Tammy Duckworth, his VP potential choice, calling for a national conversation about re-examining statues of historical figures, including George Washington. It created a backlash from some Republicans, especially at Fox News. Host Tucker Carlson, he always goes off. Well, he's gone off on this too. Take a look.
George Washington was a genuinely great man. But to morons like Tammy Duckworth, Washington is just some old white guy who needs to be erased. Keep in mind, Tammy Duckworth is not a child, at least not technically. She is a sitting United States senator who is often described as a hero. Yet Duckworth is too afraid to defend her own statements on a cable TV show. What a coward. Tammy Duckworth is also a fraud.
This from a guy who I don't recall the last time he went into combat. Senator Duckworth responded in a quite brilliant op-ed claiming that Tucker Carlson doesn't know what patriotism is, that she highly suggests that every American read. I think everybody should read it. So, Sonny, is Tucker messing? Is he going to get beat by this woman who really is a person you don't want to mess with her like this? What do you think?
Well, he's certainly outmatched. But I think that what we should call attention to is that he was reacting to a statement that she made when she said that she welcomed a national dialogue on removing some of the statues of not only the founding fathers, but Confederate statues. She welcomed a dialogue, and in his response, he called her a fraud, a coward, and someone who hates America. And we are talking about a Purple Heart recipient who lost both of her legs fighting for the very freedom that Tucker Carlson has, right? The freedom to attack her and call her not a patriot. And I think what something else that should be noted is that Tucker Carlson, his head writer, I think his name is Blake Neff, resigned after secretly posting all these racist and sexist, homophobic remarks in an online forum. And while he was fired by Fox News very quickly, and I commend Fox for doing that, in a recent article, he said that he was his head writer, and anything that Tucker Carlson was reading off of a teleprompter, the first draft was written by this person, by Blake Neff. And when I watch Tucker Carlson, I know he's, one of the most famous cable news hosts and has the highest ratings. I see and I hear all of these types of dog whistles, the racism and the homophobic nature of all of his commentary. And so the fact that he attacked a real patriot tells me that he thinks he has the power to do something like that. And it really is despicable that he has this kind of perch and uses it in that manner. I think there should be real outrage here. Real outrage. And I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it.
Joy, what do you think? Is this just run of the mill, or is there a problem with calling this woman a coward and someone who hates America?
Yeah. Well, I was reading here that I know she comes from a long line of military people, like Meghan's family, many generations of people in the military. When she was in the Army in 2004, her helicopter was hit by a grenade fired by Iraqi insurgents, and she lost both of her legs. Despite that, she sought a medical waiver allowing her to continue serving in the Illinois Army National Guard until she retired. So she has a great thing to bring to the position, I think, and especially compared to Cadet Bone Spurs in the White House right now. It shows you the differences in candidates. I don't know that Tucker Carlson should open his stupid mouth. And I think that you say, Sonny, nobody's outraged. I am, and so are you, and I think all of us on this panel are. So I don't know that people are not outraged. It's like, how much outraging can you do in 1 year? It's over my head at this point, how outrageous everything that's going on. Last week, he pardons his friend, whatever it is, to Roger Stone. There's no end to what they will do to win. So I like Tammy Duckworth as a candidate very much.
Yeah. So, Megan, how about you?
Oh, there's a few things to hit. The first one is that where I come from, you just can't call any veteran a coward under any circumstances whatsoever. You just can't. That's not how this works, especially a double amputee victim of a helicopter crash. And she's a really interesting, compelling politician. She has been for a long time. She's actually the first sitting senator to ever give birth in office, and she brought her baby daughter on the Senate floor. And as you know, I don't like to keep talking about my pregnancy, but this is no joke. And the idea of being in the Senate and being pregnant, she deserves a medal for that in and of itself. I have no idea how she did that because it's hard work. She's getting a lot of buzz right now on Politico. She had the big write-up piece saying how she's coming up really strong and fast. I believe I texted it to you over the weekend, Whoopi. She seems to be in the lead to be his vice presidential pick, far above Kamala right now. So if anyone should be nervous about Tammy Duckworth, it's Kamala Harris. And in regards to Tucker Carlson, I think some of the criticism of what she said about specifically the statues of George Washington could have been valid, but once you start calling veterans cowards and bringing your service into the discussion, it completely inoculates the point, and I start tuning out and I'm not taking it seriously. So I think if she becomes a vice presidential candidate, there can be questions about her politics all day long. That's more than fair, but you cannot question anyone who has served this country's service under any circumstances whatsoever, period.
Now, if you're talking about folks who deserve an apology, that's a woman who deserves an apology from you, Tucker Carlson. That's just me speaking. And yeah, you can think of all the things that are wrong with me. There is a lot wrong with me. I take it all. But it does not change the fact that you were out of line and should never, ever have said anything like that about an American vet in the United States of America, ever.